Sound 42. Turn it up. It's the Chop Not Slop Show. It's OG Ron C and DJ Candlestick. Chop Stars OVO Gang. DJ Candlestick.
So if you didn't know, we got a new look for the Chop Shop merch store. We got some new drops in there, some new sales coming up. I want you guys to go to the merch store. You don't have to buy anything. I just want you to go there and look at some of these fire designs that we got in there. Shout out to our CSGs. If you hear the term CSG on the channel, that stands for Chop Shop Gang. That's the community. That's those passionate Rockets fans that sit through 2-3 years of a rebuild, that sit through bad games, that sit through bad coaching. Shout out to y'all. We are at the cusp of glory. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Got to keep pushing through. Shout out to the CSGs. Go to the merch store. Check out the designs on there. If you like something, cop it, man. Cop it. Let them boys know what the CSG stands for, man. Tell them that you've been a die-harder. You went through the Christian Wood years. You went through the John Wall years. So keep repping, keep supporting the Chop Shop, and we're going to keep dropping heat. What is good? What is good with y'all, boys? All right, audio check, sound check, sound check. What I sound like, what I sound like. Quality control in the chat. Y'all let me know. It is an exciting day in the NBA today, man. A lot of news going on, a lot of things moving around, rumors and exciting things, man. It's just been a crazy day, and the reason I even wanted to make this stream was for one main reason, and this stuff really just kind of hit me hard, man. The Rockets have waived Dacian Knicks, bro. Like, end of an era, man. End of an era. Like, I was thinking about making a tribute video to him. All jokes aside, shout out to Knicks, helping him, Silas, Eric Gordon, Christian Wood, all these players that have helped us reach the point where we are today by just being themselves. But hopefully the kid gets another shot. But good luck to that man. You know what I mean? Good luck to that man. But welcome to Free Agent Eve. We got to make this an NBA holiday because this, if you're a basketball head, this is probably the most exciting time, right? We have a lot to cover today. I'm gonna obviously the number one thing that just rocked social media was the James Harden news that just came out of Philly. And I got a unique perspective that y'all may not really expect from me, right? So and so let me go to the story. Let me go to the story, and I'm gonna share my screen. Let me go. Y'all give me a second. Let me do the technology thing. I'm gonna share my screen, and we can chop it up. Okay, so for the James Harden thing, let me let your boy Woj tell y'all. Y'all let me know if you can hear the audio through the screen, okay? Okay, no audio? Okay, so basically Woj is saying that James Harden has forced himself into a trade, right? He's forced himself into a trade, and this was broken a few hours ago. Um, by Woj and Shams and everybody else. So basically, he is in free agency now. He has opted into his contract. And how that works is that so prior to all of this, the negotiations between Harden and all the teams, whether it's Philly, whether it's some of the rumors with Houston, the negotiations with him was that he was a free agent and he would not opt into his contract. And if he didn't opt into his contract, he could go pretty much wherever he wanted. He wasn't a restricted free agent. He was an unrestricted free agent because his last year was a player option. So that's a different dynamic because in that instance, he has the leverage of the field, right, against Philly. So Philly has to basically be in competition with Houston. Whether there's another, no real other teams came up. You heard some stuff about Brook, about the Suns, little rumors here and there, but nothing real came up. What I'm assuming happened. This is my belief on the James Harden thing, right? What I'm assuming happened is that James Harden basically got to the point where him and Daryl Morey could not reach an agreement about what they wanted to do, with their with his contract negotiations, and that basically got to an impasse. And the only way that he would have been able to stay in Philly is they reached a certain price point, and I'm sure that Daryl probably in Philly, maybe Daryl would have done it if it was just him by himself, but Philly in a vacuum probably like, nah, we're good. We can't pay you because he was still asking for $45 million a year, close to $50 million a year, maybe 3 to 4 years. Philly's looking at what they have coming up. You still got Embiid, you got Maxey, not really much else going on there. The new CBA is coming up. Do you want to be tied up with a team with an aging James Harden, Embiid that's hurt, even though he's an MVP caliber player, he's hurt a lot. You feel me? So do you want to be tied up in that dynamic for the next 3 to 4 years? And they collectively said no. So I think that this was a mutual agreement between James Harden's camp, Philly's camp, and the front office to say that, you know what, this is not going to work. So James, probably not reaching the number that they wanted him to be able to reach, um, basically decided to opt in. And instead of just walking away from Philly and hitting the free open market, um, you feel me? He opted in for them, and to me, he did a solid for Daryl Morey. He did a solid for Daryl Morey. I think he didn't have to do this, but what it does do, it is beneficial to him because by him opting into this year, it does open up the ability for the sign and trades, and that opens up some of the teams that are contenders, so he can go to a contender. So it's a mutual benefit for both parties to be able to do this. He can go to a contender. And the rumors are that, the teams that are interested in James are going to be the Clippers, the Suns. I've heard the Lakers, the Knicks, some of these teams. But he's going to get a chance to go to a contender. Now, there's a little, I have a feeling this has no bearing with anything that has come out. This has nothing with anything that anybody has said or I've heard. But this is my personal feeling, right? This is my personal feeling. I know you guys know I've been the most like anti Harden person as far as not him as a player, but him as a Houston Rocket going forward. But y'all hear me out. Y'all hear me out before y'all cook me in the chat and call me a hypocrite. Well, I'm not going to be a hypocrite because my thing was if it was 2 years, I already told y'all I would pay him. 2 years, I'm not even mad at that. But here are my rationale for why. Not that we're going to do it, but I would not. In fact, I'd be okay with James Harden coming back in this current situation. So peep this. So prior to all this, the talks were that he wanted a 3-year contract, 3 to 4 years. Obviously, the max, that's a big hell no for me. Don't want to touch it, right? No max. And the I see somebody say cut the stream. And the dynamic then was that are the Rockets going to cave into giving him that contract? And it comes out basically Houston. I forgot where I read this. They said no. They said no. They're not giving him the contract he wanted, so he moved on. That's why it kind of died down over the last week or two about Houston being a James Harden destination. It came out they basically had a point that they were not going to pay him past, and they didn't budge from it. So shout out to the Stone and Udoka and Fertitta for not being simps, right? We talked about the simps. But think about this. We're about to pay Fred VanVleet, and who will we talk about? The rumors are that Fred VanVleet will get roughly, 2 years, 80 something million dollars from the Rockets, so about $40 million a year to be our point guard going forward. But I'm thinking, okay, so that's a 2 year window, a 2 year window for a player. there's nothing. Basically, you could trade him the next year as an expiring, so it could turn into 1.5 years. So I'm comparing. I have Fred VanVleet, a good player that I really like. I have James Harden, but peep this. Because he's opted into his contract, he is only going to be guaranteed 1 year going forward. Right? He's going to be Kurt. This is a live stream, brother. I'm in here. This is going to be he's going to be locked into a 1 year contract going forward. And if he's locked in, guess what the price is? His opt-in number is 36 million. So I can get 1 year of James Harden, a better player than Fred VanVleet, get all the glitz and glamour of James Harden at what is he, 33 right now for 1 year, pay, cheaper than I would for a year and a half or two of Fred VanVleet. And he's still relatively good. He can help the team be better. He's a point guard, so at the end of the day, he'll still do all the things that you want him to do: distribute, play, make, blah 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 blah. And I get to wash my hands after a year, so I'm getting a better player for cheaper, for shorter. And if Amen Thompson shows me that, hey, dude, I'm ready. 2024 summer, Amen Thompson, shot looking nice, filled in his body a little bit, picked up the defense, did all the stuff he was supposed to do to be my starter. Hey, James, hey, we can give you maybe 3 for 60 or something like that if you want to do a team friendly deal. Or, good luck to you in the free agent market. Thank you for your services. So that's my thinking on that, because I think that in the short term, and this is ultimately short term for $36 million, I do it. I pulled that trigger on that. I don't know what y'all think about that, but that's my rationale for it. The only flip side to it, obviously, with all the stuff that comes with James Harden, right? Aside from that, the flip side is the trade part, because it would be a sign and trade. The great thing about him opting in is that Philly has no leverage at all. They have zero leverage in this. So it's just a matter of what are the Rockets willing to give up if they did something, because obviously this is not, to me, like the first move you make. But if the Rockets are thinking this, what are they willing to give up to make that flip? And you got to match the salaries. So you're looking at Tate, KPJ, maybe aggregate a bunch of random players to get up to where you can actually make the salaries work. I don't know whether Philly, they would have no choice in doing so. But if it's just a 1 year and Harden is a rental, Philly could really just trade him anywhere, but I don't think they do that. I'm seeing John Bell says, give them picks. No, sir. No, I would not ever do this for picks, because I don't think it's worth it. It's just something that I just thought was something that's interesting. Now for him, oh yeah, the 3-team trade, John, I do see that. I see the 3-team trade scenario would be, a third team would get involved in it, where you'd be able to try to get some things out of it, where Philly would try to make it worth their while by getting something back. But I'm sure they could do that with other teams. I'm thinking of 3-team trades with the Blazers. They could work with a third team, maybe us, maybe another team that has assets, where let's say Harden goes to Houston or something like that, or Harden goes to a third team, Dame comes to Philly, third team sends stuff to Portland, something like that. Those trades. But he said that his camp has released that he wants to go to a contender. So the contending teams, is going to be hard to really get, because contending teams don't want to give up good players. They want to keep him, add him on to a team that's already stacked. And then Philly wants to take back a more, good player. So that's kind of a gridlock there. I think at the end of the day, Philly's going to get screwed. James is going to get his shot on a contender. And I don't know, what does this do for his legacy? You feel me? I just feel like, he's really tarnishing his legacy. And I'm sure that every fan base that he's left over the past 4 years probably hates him to some extent. Maybe not everybody, but you think about Houston. Now, I know how y'all feel about James Harden. I see it. I'm seeing it right now. You think about Brooklyn. They hate him, despise him. They hate him. You know what I mean? I think the only person they probably hate more is Kyrie. And then Philly now. Philly fans already, you know how they get. That's a different. They'll boo you in the middle of a game. They don't care. The Philly fans feel they real. That's like an old school type of crowd out there. So they're already out on him. So I just don't know, what does this guy do? You feel me? Like, as somebody, to me, you think about this, and this just points to y'all that grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? If he had stayed in Houston, if he had stayed in Houston all these years coming into now, even if he didn't win a championship, man, you're talking about you're gonna have a seat courtside at every game like Hakeem does. I mean, they're probably building you a statue out front in Toyota Center. You feel me? I still think they're gonna retire his number at some, in the future, maybe when he's gone, retired and stuff like that. But to me, what the way he left and the thing, like how he left and how he's like even tarnished his career now, one of the biggest fumbles to me in like for a generational player in NBA history. And I mean, there's manners of handling these things, um, but his history and his legacy is going to be a complicated one. It's going to be a complicated one. For us, hey, you know what I mean? I can't complain because at the end of the day, he initiated the Band-Aid ripping, and you know what I mean? It was for the best. It was for the best. But that is what that is. I think the it says that a trade is pretty much imminent. So I'm curious. I don't know what y'all think. I'm thinking I'm putting my money on LA. I don't think it's the Lakers. I don't know. I don't think the Lakers are doing it, but I think I can see him going to the Clippers. I don't know how they keep him in Russ. I mean, I know they've made up from the Houston days, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but that's James Harden, man. Dude just keeps burning it down. I don't get it. I really, really don't get why he is so adamant about tarnishing his legacy. Another team that's interested is Heat. The Heat, I think that'd be a weird fit for him, but we'll see where he goes. But let's get to some other news going around the NBA related to free agency. Obviously, like I said, it's the night of free agency eve. We have coming up, over the next 24 hours. I'm sure all the agents and teams are currently tampering right now as we speak. Rafael Stone is tampering with multiple agents and players and getting deals done. So as soon as the clock strikes at the beginning of official free agency, you're going to see a flood of tweets from Shams and Woj saying this player has signed with this team and this player is going to be crazy. And we will be here doing. I'll be here. I think Space should be on. We'll be doing a live stream reacting to the start of free agency. So y'all tapping for that. But let's get to some of these news, man. Let's get to some of these news items that have gone on. Let me go back to sharing if I can. Let's go to. Okay, so we got the Houston Rockets are gauging gating trade interest for KJ Martin, Usman Garuba, and Josh Christopher. This came out yesterday. They also have picked up KJ Martin's team option, so he is on the books for the Rockets, and he is currently trade eligible as we speak. So KJ is going to be out there. I mean, they're going to shop him. He's a player that I'm sure that a lot of teams are going to be wanting to kind of entertain offers for him because I think that KJ he's a winning player. I just don't. I wish there was a way we could keep him. Right. I wish there was a way we could keep him because I actually think that he brings some values. Like a lot of people try to look at like his stats and things like that, but you just got to watch the kid play. He plays the game the right way, exceptionally smart player, high IQ, great, off ball player, great cutter, one of our best driving kick players. I think he's second behind. I forgot who it was, but he might be the best. He's one of our best driving kick players that we have. So if they do trade him, I'm gonna miss him, man. I know he probably reads the writing on the wall. You draft the Cam Whitmore, you have Jabari, Tari, but I would rather just move on from Tate, right? I would rather just move on from Tate and try to see if he could be on my second unit, playing that 3 or 4 position, and try to have the best second unit in the NBA. I still think that's in the cards. They don't have to rush to trade KJ because he's actually good and he actually helps you win. And at the end of the day, unless an offer comes in that you just can't refuse, just slow play it. I was even shocked they hadn't extended him yet to this point. to see if they could try to get him on a team-friendly deal, lock him down a little bit, and just see if you can add him to your salary. To me, he's clean salary. He's a good player. No, you know what I mean? Besides his dad kind of going off on random things, he's a quiet dude. You know what I mean? Plays the right way, does what he's supposed to do, has a great synergy without P. Every lineup that he's in is damn near a plus. He's in all our good lineups. The Goon Squad, the one with Shane, every lineup, he's a plus player, him and Tari. So I like guys. I see that. I like guys like that. I think Coach Udoka probably recognizes, but hey, business is business. So you probably, you know what I mean, you probably got to do what you got to do with that instance there. So I ain't mad at that. So for the Rockets, two of the names that, you know, everybody is beat over the head is the Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. Now, Fred VanVleet, I am perfectly fine with. You know, I mean, I've been kind of here and there with him. I go back and forth. For the 2 years, that's a perfect contract for Fred VanVleet. And the reason I'm going to say that is because if you think about what the Rockets are actually trying to do, and this is really, to me, what their MO should be for this rebuild, right? You want to thread the needle between having a competitive team now, at the same time having the development of these high draft picks. And we have one, two, three, we have three players that were chosen in the top five, and one in Cam Whitmore that was a top five talent that slipped down to 20. You have two other lottery players with Alperen Sengun and Tari Eason. So within that, that's six lottery players on your team. So you've invested a lot because those are picks that you could have used to trade for players. You could have, you know, I mean, you could have done a lot with those picks, but you've invested them in people. So you have those assets as people, as human beings on your roster. So you can't just have these human beings on your roster sitting there doing nothing while you know, you're just having these vets come in and do all the work that are going to be gone in 2-3 years. So they have to find a balance between getting vets to help build the structure, win, compete, and at the same time helping these assets, these draft picks, reach their full development and get to the point where the returns for investing in them pays off. The return on their investment is there. So how do you do that? Now, historically, if you look at most teams, and this was one of my arguments against James Harden or players of his caliber coming to us this early in our rebuild, right? If you look at most teams that are on the come up, the first addition, the big addition, is not like a big star free agency. It's somebody that's usually, they're good, maybe former all-star, that's not on their decline, but they're not at their peak anymore. Because what those players do, they bring in a certain veteran savviness, of certain knowledge to the young players to help them. You think about Iggy going to the Warriors. Now, if y'all don't remember, Andre Iguodala was this dude was he was a baller. I think he was like a 2-3 time All-Star in Philly. Philly Iggy was nice. You know what I mean? Some of y'all may be too young to remember that, but Iggy in Philly he was nice. You feel me? But when the Warriors got him, he was not the same player that he was, but he brought the smarts, the IQ. This is a guy that we know is one of the smartest players in the NBA. So my point is that the reason I like Fred, mostly not even just the on-court stuff, is like the experience and those things he brings. You think about what the Rockets have said they wanted. They want players that are smart. They want players that are good professionals that can set good examples for their young guys. They want players, and Coach Udoka said he wants players that have been on the big stage. Fred VanVleet has been on the big stage. He's been on multiple big stages. You know what I mean? He's played in finals and won championships. He's been in the playoffs, been in battles against LeBron, been in battles against Steph, Giannis, Embiid. So he's seen it, been there, done that. This is a guy that was a undrafted player. You guys remember his story from the finals. Yeah, you know how ESPN is going crazy right now with Wemby. Like every 2 seconds, it's a Wemby ad. During the finals, it was the Fred VanVleet thing because he was doing so good. Well, he actually started off doing bad, if y'all remember. He couldn't hit a shot. He had a baby. Then, no, his wife was pregnant. He was terrible. Then when she delivered the baby, he turned into Jordan. Like the dude was like on fire. And they started running the show thing about him being undrafted and blah, blah, blah. But the point is that he's somebody, he got it out the mud, man. This is a dude that got it out the mud. And um, I like that. I like that because I feel like when it comes to competition, guys like that, they don't really care about like where you were drafted, bro. In fact, he should come in and let them know like all that stuff is nothing. Like it is not sweet. Like John Wall said, KPJ and Jalen thought it was sweet. The NBA is not sweet. They about to find out. They about to find out. There's no more handouts, no more gimmies. Fred VanVleet, I think if, it seems like the Rockets are pretty much damn near it's a done deal, but Toronto is trying to make a case for him. I'm not sure what his values are right now. I've heard that he kind of wants to stay on the Raptors, but I don't know because you think about the money we're offering him. The Raptors can only give him, I think, about a $30 million 3 years, $30 million. But for us, we can give him that 2 for $80. So not only are you looking at the money aspect of it, you're also looking at the fact that he's going to be in America. So the taxes on that, then he's in Texas. That's a non-tax, no state tax domain. So for more than the times he plays in Texas, whether it's the Spurs, the home games in Houston, and the Dallas Maverick, he's getting his bread. So that's a significant difference over a period. That's millions of dollars in taxes he saves. Now, if I'm thinking Fred is an undrafted guy, I don't see him turning down bread like that. Like he's not LeBron. And he can come back to the crib. He can come back to America. He can get, get with these guys. I like the fit because he does things that you like from a player. He can play on ball. He can play off ball. He's a good defender on the perimeter. He's not the best defender in the world. Obviously, he's an undersized guy. But I just think that for him, this is a good fit. And it's only 2 years. And once he's exited out of that role of being the mentor, you can move on. You know what I mean? Even next year, a 2 year salary is nothing. That's literally just an expiring. It's an extended expiring. Let's call it that because basically you play that this year coming up. The next year, he's on his last year of his contract. And if you see somebody you want to trade for, you can trade Fred because Fred is going to be a positive value asset. If you see if you like him, maybe you talk to him, maybe you can give him a team friendly deal going forward, extend him out from there, or you can just let him walk, wash your hands, shake hands with him. Hey, appreciate what you did, brother. Hey, Amen, Jalen, Sengun, let's go. It's y'all's turn. At the end of the day, I don't want anybody that's going to be overbearing on our team. Now, the other player that's involved in this, Dylan Brooks, in this tweet right here. I've been battling myself on the Dylan Brooks thing, and I just don't know, bro. I don't know. I think about it because he's a good defender. We'll say that, but there's something about his demeanor that I don't like. I just don't trust his on ball like b ball IQ. The dude takes terrible shots. The context of the game doesn't matter. To me, that bothers me. I don't like players that can't read the moment. Like y'all are down 2 and you got a better player next to you, but you're gonna just pull up for a 30-foot three, even though you're shooting 30% from three. Like that stuff, that's IQ stuff. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that drives me crazy about Russell Westbrook, like stuff like that. Like that kind of like, bro, come on, bro. Are you literally having a mental breakdown in the middle of a game? So it seems like he's a rocket. I ain't gonna lie, guys. It seems like that's a done deal too. If he is on the team, the fit, is he starting? I think so. You got to put him at the 3 probably. Um, and then to me, you know what I mean? Tari got to beat him out. I think Tari should beat him out. Honestly, if Tari's defense keeps doing what he does, his shot, to me, they shoot damn near about the same. Tari is a better transition player. Dylan Brooks is just more versatile as far as on offense. He can play the point guard. He can play the 2 guard. He can play the 3. I think at the end of the day, with internal development, I can see Tari taking it. I can see Tari taking it. Now, when it comes to like Cam Whitmore, I think he's going to be a project. Like that dude's going to take time. He probably is going to get some burn. I don't think he's going to be ready because if you watch them at Villanova, he didn't make their team better because obviously he's super young and he still has to learn to play in the construct of a team. He has a lot of individual talent, but he has to learn to play on a team. Like that's going to be the rep on him. That's a lot of reasons. If y'all heard his coaches were kind of downplaying him a bit. So he on the court he has some I'm him tendencies that he's gonna have to shake, and that's just young guy stuff. I think that's if this was last year and we drafted Cam Whitmore, I'd be worried if it was Coach Silas as our coach, but with Ime Udoka, I'm not. I think they'll get him right, and that's why you get the Fred VanVleets of the world. That's why you try to go get some of these guys to come in and see what he does. So like I said, the Rockets are looking at offering him 2 years, 80 million, 83 million, whatever it is. And yeah, we'll see. I think this is going to happen, guys. I've heard there's a lot of smoke for it, so I think this is going to happen. I honestly think this is going to happen. So yeah, we can just Photoshop the or just I'm gonna post a picture of just what's his name? What's the DJ Augustine, bro? They look like cousins to me. Little baby DJ Augustine. A random name dropped up this morning. Kyle Kuzma is emerging as a strong landing spot. Houston is emerging as a strong landing spot for Kyle Kuzma, which is hella wild to me. Now, if y'all remember, I don't know if y'all remember, I've actually said I wouldn't mind Kyle Kuzma, but this was before the draft. I don't know how I feel about the Kyle Kuzma thing because I feel like he's a player that's going to want um, he's going to want money and he's going to want years. Now, Kyle has improved pretty much every year of his career. He's still relatively young. What he's like 25, 26 years old. He's a champion, been on the big stage. I mean, despite the sweaters with the extended arms on there and the looking like he's dressed like a imaginary character. The dude is, I mean, he's a reliable player. I mean, he's gonna show up. He's gonna do what he does. He can hit tough shots. If y'all remember when we played the Wizards, Kyle was balling. I mean, he was balling. So I wouldn't be mad. It just depends on the contract for me. Like I wouldn't give him like a 30 plus million. I don't know because right now he's not really making much. If they can get him on a value deal, something in the 20s, I would be okay with it. Maybe a 3+1 with a team option. I think Kyle could fit in on our team. I think he brings shooting. He addresses that for us. He's a decent rebounder. I mean, he can put the ball on the ground. Just another player that you can add that can mix in with the guys and help some of these young guys grow. So I'm not mad at it, but it would not be my first option. It would not be my first option to have Kyle Kuzma as a Rocket. It's just that contract, man. I got to see it. I got to see what that looked like. Another news that dropped in: Jackson Hayes, Pelicans center, is an unrestricted free agent. I've actually been high on Jackson Hayes for the past few years as a prospect. I think he'd be a great backup center to bring. I think that if they can, he's an unrestricted free agent. We have cap space. This is the power that having all this money really lends to Houston, is because when you have this much power and ability to be able to move the market, you can really mess with a lot of teams that want to keep their players, because teams are going to be strapped trying to keep their guys and trying to work in the CBA and their cap space. But we have all this extra money that if we come with an offer and give it to a player, it might push the team out the market for it. So Hayes he's a great, to me, a secondary. I put a tweet that said, if we don't get Brook Lopez, this is the guy that I wouldn't mind just, hey, let's just take a shot and see what happens with this. Because if you remember, Hayes, motor guy, he runs the floor like a horse. He's 7 foot tall, 7'4" wingspan. He's hella athletic. Great rim protector. Just really hasn't got a chance to crack the rotation in any serious manner on the Pelicans. And I just think that, he's a good player. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's a good balance to have next to Alp. He's a guy, if he does work out, he's young, so he can grow with our core and get these moments under his belt. He's played in big games. He's dropped points he scored in the playoffs. So he also fits the criteria of what Coach Udoka was talking about. Now, there are some concerns about off the court issues. Obviously, I think he had the case for assault. Y'all seen the videos of him telling police officer, or not a video, I don't know what it was, or a story about him telling the police officer to S his D. So I don't know. He's immature. He's a kid. That's why I think he'd be a great second or third option. If we don't get the two primary guys that they wanted out of the free agency, I would take him. All right, we got a super chat from your boy Lee Hines. So Lee says, And appreciate you, brother, for the super chat. Yeah, we don't need big name stars. Come along with huge burden contracts. Not now. Facts, bro. Facts. I totally agree with that because, like I said, at the end of the day, Jalen, Jabari, Amen, Cam, Sengun, Tari, those are the guys we're going to be relying on. So what can we do to get them ready for 2026? If I'm Rafael Stone, even though I'm trying to keep my job, what can we do to get him ready for 2026? So that's why I don't want no like the big name stars. I don't need Chris Middleton here. You feel me? Just give me a good player. Give me a Cam Johnson. Give me a Fred VanVleet. Give me a Bruce Brown. You know what I mean? Give me these guys that I can put in that won't be mad if I told them, hey, bro, you got to come off the bench because yeah, man. Amen Thompson's cooking, bro. Like we gotta let him start. He's starting this game. It's a bigger guard you're facing tonight. We'll have you come with the twos. Or hey, bro, we're moving you to this position. We're gonna let Jalen be on ball today. Fred, you're playing the two. Like we need guys that don't have that ego to like, oh, I need the ball. Like I gotta get my shots. I don't need none of that. And whenever they're coming and the Rockets are talking to these guys, those are the conversations they should be having. Like, hey, this is where we're at. We're trying to win. We need you to be a coach on the court with us. But at the end of the day, we're still have a lot invested in these young players. We want them to compete, and we want you to compete with them and push them. And some of you, I'm up for that. If a guy agrees to that, bring him on. But we don't need like a superstar. You know what I mean? We don't need a superstar. But I like Jackson. I think Jackson is a great compliment. And to what Coach Udoka said about having players to do other things that Sengun and some of our guys don't. He's a perfect other thing player. Young and he'll be cheap. You can pay him a little bit more than what New Orleans would, and I would be thrilled if we didn't get Lopez, and you know what I mean, go get him, and please no more Mo Bamba. If I have to hear one, Mo Bamba has done nothing, bro. This dude could not beat out Mo Wagner for a spot in Orlando. So what is he if he can't crack the rotation in Orlando consistently? Damn show went to the Lakers that was begging for his services, couldn't crack the rotation. What are we doing? He meets none of the criteria of Coach Udoka. Been in the big games. No, he was on the bench the whole time when the Lakers were in the playoffs. Great locker room guy. I don't know much about his locker room, but he's always on the bench. He's always hurt. Doesn't really add much. He's kind of a Eeyore type of guy. Looks like you got to like slap him up to get him going. No, I don't need a guy you got to crank up to get going, bro. Yeah. So no on the Mo Bamba. There's some great, free agent bigs out there. My friend Mike on Twitter suggested Jacques Landale. You know what I mean? There's the old buddy over on that came from Hornets to the Clippers. I'm forgetting his name right now. He's there. He's going to be a free agent. They got the light-skinned brother from Dallas Mavericks. He's a free agent. I'm not like too crazy on him, but hey, that's still somebody that brings a different dynamic to the that Sengun does not. It's okay for Sengun not to be the guy like right now. If they bring somebody, Mason Plumlee, thank you. If they bring somebody that is better than him, guys, it's perfectly fine. When you're trying to win games, all this like, oh, this is my guy. I like this guy. That stuff doesn't matter, bro. Like this is a basketball team. They need all y'all play sports. Static, you tripping? But he said Frank Kaminsky. Come on, dog. All y'all that played sports, you know how it is when you in practice and coach is showing favor to a guy that you're better than. It ruins the team. You can't, as a coach, how can you have a locker room character and have a system in place that guys aren't being rewarded for good performance? And that's what the hell Coach Silas was doing all these years. It was not a shock to me that those dudes were just running around just doing whatever they wanted. There was no accountability there. So if you're going to bring in players, let's say you bring in a Brook Lopez. Sengun is better than him. Let Sengun start. If Sengun is not better than him, then Sengun doesn't deserve to start. If you bring in a guard that's like you're going to pay 30-some million to, let's say for some weird reason we get a two guard that's just nice. I can't think of who it is right now. And Jalen is not as good as that player. Then Jalen he won't start because you're paying $40 million to that. You know what I mean? That's just how it should be. Now, I'm sure the Rockets are going to get creative and try to get ways for guys to get on the court for contractual reasons. That's the thing with the NBA. You can't run a pure, and I talked about this on one of the comments on the YouTube, you can't run a pure meritocracy in the NBA. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to win, that stuff goes out the window, especially when the GM and the coach's back gets against the wall. You've seen it. Bench Russ, right? It gets real like that. When you're tanking, yeah, you can do all these funny things, right? Stone is on the clock. I've been praising this man all summer for what he's done, but all of this stuff is not. This is not the outcome. Drafting Cam Whitmore isn't like, oh yeah, let's hang the. We drafted Cam Whitmore at 20 banner, right? Where the Mayor Turner is not going to give a parade ordinance for us to parade because we drafted Cam Whitmore and the man Thompson, or we signed Fred VanVleet and Brook Lopez. You still got to suit up, show up on the court, and win these games. So if they're not winning games, then all of this means nothing. So Stone is still on the clock. He is still on the watch. Like we keeping an eye on him, but he's doing good. He's checking up all the short-term objectives right now. I want to see, can he hit the big goal of actually building a good roster. So to that extent, a lot of this favoritism stuff with these players, it can't fly, bro. It's not gonna fly because guys are trying to win, and you're gonna be bringing in money. You're paying guys, so you can't be doing all this funny stuff where Jabari's playing 38 minutes a game and the dude can't hit a shot to save his life. Hey, bro, you're not ready. That's cool. We invested a lot in you. You got a lot of runway. You know what I mean? We're gonna put a lot of years, give you every opportunity, and if you can take it, take it. If you can't, if you're not ready yet because you're 19, that's perfectly fine. So that's just the dynamic with that. But back to Jackson Hayes, I think he'd be a great player. Another bit of news: the Lakers emerged as a new contender in the Brook Lopez race, and that's a fire Photoshop, right? If y'all remember, he was actually on the Lakers, but they've actually come. I think I don't know if he might actually want to go to LA. I'm not gonna lie. I just don't know I haven't looked at their salary sheet to see what they would actually do. But I don't know. I think we can outpay everybody. But Brook doesn't look like the guy to chase a bag, though. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. What do y'all think about Brook Lopez? I'm really high on him. I think he brings a lot of the stuff that I like in a vet. Like I said, what's the criteria? Character guy, check. He's a position of need, check. He's a guy that has been on big stages, a champion, all that. It's all there. He meets the criteria of what we're trying to do. I think that hopefully Stone is texting his agent right now and saying like, bro, whatever they're giving you, you can add 2 M's on there, 3 M's on there. We'll make it worth your while. So we'll see if we can land him. If we do get Brook Lopez and Fred VanVleet, I think, I told you guys that the Rockets would win 35 to 40 games. If you get FVV and Brook, I'm going to push that up to 40 to 45. Yeah, that's a bold stance, but I'm taking that because I feel like they are just great floor raisers along with the talent we already had. Because a lot of the issues that we saw at the end of games when the teams would collapse at the end, he addresses that. You know what I mean? Then if you do have Brook and you get a couple more vets and maybe they do sign Brook, Dylan Brooks, and maybe get a shooter in there, I mean, you might have one of the best benches in the NBA. Because what's going to happen is these guys that we have playing all these 30, 40 minutes are going to get pushed down to the second unit. And the guys that are going to be on the first unit are going to be your guys that have proved it. Jalen, possibly Sengun, depending on how they want to line up. I could see maybe a Brook and Sengun lineups coming out. You have Jabari that's probably going to get a chance to start at that forward spot. So we'll see, depending on who they get. I can see that for sure. But I can't imagine, like, I know some of y'all can't wrap your minds around Jabari coming off the bench, but I believe Ime Udoka when he says nothing is handed out. Like if you're not good and you're not ready, then you're not going to play. So I actually believe him. I believe him. A guard that I've recently started falling in love with is your boy Bruce Brown. Not that I didn't know about his game. Obviously, I'm an NBA junkie, so Bruce can play. But having conversations on Twitter today with some people and just really pointing out some of the key good bonuses about getting a guard like Bruce Brown, even over a Fred VanVleet, because the thing about Bruce is that we've seen him play multiple roles. Right, he's been used as a off-ball guard, a guy that, in Brooklyn, where he was really like damn near their power forward, sometimes played the 5 for them, screening, running pick and rolls, being a lob threat to the basket, able to play both sides of the pick and rolls, the ball handler and the screener. This is a dude that improved his shot. As a great shooter in Denver. He can run dribble handoffs. He can set the table. He cuts well. He's just a smart player and a great defender. So he brings all of that, and he's a guy that doesn't have an ego. So I'm thinking about him and thinking about if we wanted to go in multiple directions with the team, Bruce Brown is the type of player you want because he can do it all. The dude can play on ball, off ball. He can play off the bench. He can start. He can do whatever you want, and he's not going to give you no gripe about it. You know what I mean? The Lakers are confident in signing him. I don't know. The Lakers are going to say what they're going to say. The Lakers are probably the biggest capping team in the NBA. I think that if Fred is not budging, then the Rockets should throw the bag at him. Throw the bag at Bruce and try to see if we can lure him away and see if we can get him. So I wouldn't be mad at that signing if we got Bruce Brown. Former Rocket Eric Gordon is making an appearance on the news where it's saying that interested in EG, Lakers, Grizzlies, Timberwolves, Suns, Bucks, Trailblazers. He was waived by the Clippers, so he's not going back there. I think there's a market for him out there. I even thought about, could EG come back to Houston? Am I tripping? My tripping was suggesting that we do need shooting, but what would he play, right? I'm not even sure. But could Eric Gordon under Coach Udoka be a serviceable player? Maybe he was just tired of Steven Silas because the lack of structure. So I don't know. But I think that EG is still serviceable. He got a lot in the tank. I thought Phoenix should have got him about a year ago. They should have got him the year that they flamed out. They should have got him when Luka destroyed them. They should have got him. So I think that the Suns should still try to go get him. He's a player that you need. And yeah, bro. Yeah. So EG is on the market. And then a random story for Pascal Siakam. It says that teams that have made calls for Pascal includes the Hawks, Hornets, Mavericks, Rockets, Pelicans, and Kings. So I'm thinking, why are the Rockets calling for Spicy Pete? You feel me? What are we trying to do with bro? Like, I really don't see a path to him being on the roster. Like, I like him like as a player. I don't like his game. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I think he does a lot of great things, but I don't like. Yeah, he's gonna want a big contract. He plays a position. I mean, I guess you could put him at the 4. He'd also be able to play next to Sengun. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Pascal Siakam. I don't think he's coming to Houston. I think he wants to. He's already said that he's not gonna re-sign anywhere he goes for the long term. So I think that's just a pipe dream for any teams calling, because bro is definitely staying in Toronto. I don't see him moving away from Toronto. So that's round the clock in the NBA. So, we got free agency coming around tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. I think that you guys are going to be shocked. I feel like there's something big on the horizon for the Rockets. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I can't tell. I just don't know. I think there's going to be something major. It's going to be a big splash. Some trade or some like weird signing that's going to happen. But I'm not sure. I don't know what to think. It's eerie right now. It's like the calm before the storm. Y'all know the NBA is brewing up something nasty right now. There's going to be some massive trades tomorrow. Maybe around tonight, some trades are going to go through in preparation for free agency. But it's going to be exciting. This is like one of the most exciting times in NBA. Aside from when your team is playing, the free agency and the trade time during the NBA is really, really dope, right? That's one of the things I love about the sport. We can always have these type of things. But let me get a couple of comments before we shut this down. Tomorrow we're going to be on whenever, I forgot what time free agency starts, whether it's like 4 p.m. or 5. We'll try to get on then and react to the things live. But it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. So let me get some of these comments. Your boy Jared Johnson says, do you think KBJ will stay a Rocket? Man, that's a good question, bro. I don't know. One of the things about the Rockets roster right now is that we don't have a lot of roster like money flexibility. Everything we have is talent, right? But we don't have a lot of like just players we can aggregate for trade. So let me go to a cleaning the glass. I'll show y'all. So let me see. So this is the Rockets roster sheet right now. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Here we go. Fix the. So this is the roster sheet right now. You can see the salaries for 23-24. We got Jalen Green, $9 million, Jabari Smith, $9 million, Tate, $6 million, Alperen, $3 million, Tari, 3, KPJ, 15.9. And I think they can get it up to about 17 or 18 if they accept some of the terms in there. Garuba 2, Jacob 2, Tai 2, KJ 1.9, and Daisha Nix, who no more on the team, he's gone. Meaning that any player that we would trade for, obviously we could accept, depending on whether the team could take back, more. They can send out more salary than they can receive. Some teams can, some teams can. It just depends on who it is. But the only contract that sticks out is this big 15 right here. So if you're going to make any type of significant trades going forward, bro, I've been telling y'all this since this contract came up. Like, if y'all are, chop shop listeners, I keep saying KPJ's contract and Tate combined, if we wanted to make a real trade for a player, are the only like real things that we could use to send out salary. And I was shocked that they didn't reach an agreement with Kenyon Martin Jr. to try to extend them out earlier in anticipation for this specific situation. They were just low on him, or maybe he didn't want to stay. I don't know. But for me, I would have tried to use either him or somebody else. Would try to get him on that what's his name, Tate type of contract, maybe 3 for 20 something, just to have more salary. So I know we have the cap space. That's one weapon. Having good salaries that are tradable is a good weapon. That's another reason why it's okay for us to sign Fred VanVleet to $40 million, because if after you get to like 2024, 25, you have that big 40 on here, it's an expiring contract. You could just, you see a player you like, hey, Steph Curry wants to leave the Warriors, let's trade for him. No, I'm just playing, but that's the reason you want to be in position to do that. So this 60 million, 66 million, whatever it is, they got to use it. They got to use it because having the cap space in itself is not it's having the cap space available when you're ready to pound to make a move is the weapon. And part of maintaining that stance of being ready to pound to make a move is the ability to nurture your flexibility. And when you sign these long-term deals with these players, the 4 years, the 3 years, you are taking away from your assets because you are locking yourself into a unsure thing. If it's a player you feel greatly, like, oh man, I love this player. Jabari is a two-way dynamo. He's an all-star, all-NBA defender, blah, blah, blah. All right, man, lock him in for 5 years. Let's go. But if it's like Kyle Kuzma, 34-year-old James Harden, Fred VanVleet, like, you got to slow down and really look at the future. I know all these names sound exciting, but I've been y'all know me. I'm always thinking, my main point right now is we are building up towards 2025, right? We're building towards 2025, 2026. That is this season coming up, the 23-24 season, the 24. So that's 2 NBA seasons from now. That's the goal. That's what we're building towards. Every move we make should be in light of that. Because at that point, if you've done as a franchise, you're going to have some hard decisions to make about these players you have. In fact, this might be the easiest offseason for Rafael Stone going forward. Because there's going to be some big decisions on players, salaries. Do you want to give Jalen the designated rookie extension? If not, what type of contract? Because now with the new CBA, you don't have to. It used to be that you can give a guy a 5-year max, and as a designated rookie, the other guys, they get the 4-year. And if they can make more money other places, a lot of times guys will just leave. But now you don't have to you can have multiple designated players on your roster for one. Number two, you can actually pay a guy like let's say Jabari is like a great player, but he's not like an all NBA, all star level. But you really like with Jabari. He's a great key part of a winning program. And you want to keep him and not let him flee the market. You can offer Jabari a fifth year that other teams can't. But he doesn't have to be a designated player on your roster. So that's some of the flexibility the CBA has put on there, that fifth year for non-designated players, to allow teams to build. It's a new landscape, guys. Contracts are going to be looked at differently. The draft picks of evaluation is going to change. Second round picks are in vogue now, right? Stock up on your seconds. Late first round picks are going to be in vogue. Why? Because contenders can't draft high anymore. If you're a team like Denver, like Milwaukee, if you're a team like the Clippers, what the hell, a top 10 pick is nothing to you, because if he's going to be a guy, let's say you drafted Case and Wallace, right? You're a contender. You got to pay that man damn near $9 million. When you can get a veteran and you're trying to win chips for your star right now, you can get a veteran for that price that could be a starter on a playoff team, or you could take that chance on a young guy you got to develop over 2 to 3 years. So that's the dynamic. A lot of these contenders don't even want that headache. That's why you've seen what Denver did, trading away a future pick to get some later picks, a future first to get some seconds, and some later picks from OKC. That's the new dynamic. So when you're looking at these moves, it's going to look different. It's going to look weird. A lot of teams are trying to get off of salary. Guys are trying to get their money now before the CBA clamps down, because that team building is going to be weird. There's some good things for players, like the teams have to use their salary. They can't like just kick the can down the road anymore. But at the end of the day, it's still a different road. They're trying to clamp down on the super teams. They're trying to clamp down on teams trying to just stack up on players like the Suns are doing. And once that money for that tax comes in, it's going to be nasty. It's going to be nasty. All right, we got a super chat from DJ Generation. It says the worst possible timeline is trading Harden and overpaying Dylan Brooks. Yeah, well, no, it could be nastier. This could be nasty. Trading for Harden isn't that bad, DJ. I ain't gonna cap, because it's only 1 year, bro. Like, if you trade for him, unless we trade him, then give him an extension, that would be crazy. But if we traded for him, or we traded for him and like send out like Alperen or Tari Eason, that'd be nasty. That would be nasty. That would devastate me. Like, I would storm Toyota Center. But strictly just trading for James Harden on a 1 year deal is nothing. So, but I think worst timelines, giving Dylan Brooks a big contract, signing a player to any player, giving Kyle Kuzma like a $100 million, $120 million 4-year contract. Just doing more of what your boy Steven Silas was doing. Now, I doubt that, because I trust Ime Udoka until otherwise. He would have to prove to me that he's incompetent. I haven't seen it, but you never know. You never know. You know what I mean? So we'll give him a shot at doing that. But, that's the dynamics that we're in now. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. So y'all get y'all popcorn ready. There's going to be a lot of buzz in the morning. It's going to be a lot of capping going on. But once that clock hit, you're going to see all those things come on. And so, yeah, I'm going to stop there. Appreciate y'all boys for coming through. Y'all hit the Chop Shop merch store. Get your CSG gear. I got my stuff coming in. So I'll be rocking that and let y'all boys know what it looked like. Definitely keep supporting the channel. We'll be back on tomorrow for the free agency extravaganza. So y'all lock in with us. Keep rocking with us.